Okay, it is the 7 o'clock hour, so I call this special call meeting of the General Council of the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma here on November the 10th, 2023 to order, and I ask the Secretary for the roll call.
Leetta Sampson, Anthony Conley,
Here.
John Narkemy,
Here.
Rena Tiger, here, Anastasia Pittman, Terry Edwards,
Here.
Ida Gonzalez,
Here.
Nancy Fixico,
Here.
Leon Petit,
Here.
Joseph Billy,
Here.
Dolores Harjo, Karen Fulbright,
Here.
Ann Borba,
Here.
Stephanie Lambert,
Here.
Sina Yeslin, Lottie Cootie,
Here.
Marilyn Moore, Henson Lena,
Here.
David Frank,
Here.
Wayne Shaw,
Here.
Tiffany Thunder,
Here.
Catherine McCoy,
Here.
Charlie Hill,
Here.
Tommy Chupko, Danita Harjo,
Here.
Willis Dethridge,
Here.
Desiree Emerton. I have 20 present, 7 absent.
With a count of 20 present and 7 absent, I declare that we have a quorum for this special call meeting. Now we have to address the waiver of the 10-day notice, which is required by the council. Representative Shaw.
That's what I was gonna bring up. I wanna ask that we take a vote on the 10-day waiver. So this.
Okay, there's a motion to waive the 10-day notice, which is required by the Constitution, and second by Representative Shaw, and then I saw Representative Cootie's hand, so she's the second. So Secretary, call the roll. They want it noted in the minutes in a roll call. So this is to waive the 10-day notice of the council meeting.
Leetta Sampson, Anthony Conley,
Yes.
John Narkemy,
Yes.
Rena Tiger,
Yes.
Anastasia Pittman, Terry Edwards,
Yes.
Ida Gonzalez,
Yes.
Nancy Fixico,
Yes.
Leon Petit,
Yes.
Joseph Billy,
Yes.
Dolores Harjo, Karen Fulbright,
Yes.
Ann Borba,
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert,
Yes.
Sina Yeslin, Lottie Cootie,
Yes.
Marilyn Moore, Henson Lena,
Yes.
David Frank,
Yes.
Tiffany Thunder,
Yes.
Wayne Shaw,
Yes.
Catherine McCoy,
Yes.
Charlie Hill,
Yes.
Tommy Chupko, Danita Harjo,
Yes.
Willis Dethridge,
Yes.
Desiree Emerton. I have 20 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstain.
It's unanimous with a count of 20 yes, 0 no. The 10-day waiver of notice required by the Constitution has been waived. Let us all stand for a word of prayer. I will lead us in prayer this evening. Creator, giver of breath, sustainer of all life, one who wakes us each and every day that we get to walk upon this earth. We thank you for this day that you've given to us, the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. For you are the one that directs and guides life, and we ask for your wisdom tonight. We ask for your guidance, for you have stood with our ancestors throughout the annals of time, and we thank you for the inspiration that you have given those that have gone on before us. And we stand steadfast in that spirit of sovereignty, that spirit of strength, that spirit of unity, and that spirit that stands to adversarial ways that have been presented throughout history to the Seminole people. We ask, Lord, that you bring us together this night to discuss things that will bring resolve, that will be a strategy for solution and answers to our people who have so many, many questions towards leadership and towards this governing body and to our BCR Commission. Father, we ask that what we say tonight and what we discuss will be glorifying to Thee and give honor to Thee and bring us together during this adversarial time, that we may be in unity to be able to find the resolve that you have blessed our people with throughout our history. In thy name we pray all these things. Amen. I have be seated. Okay, there is no reading of minutes of the last meeting. There is no unfinished business. And there's no reports of committees, and I see Lottie Cootie's hand, Representative Cootie's hand, then Representative McCoy in that order. Representative Cootie.
Yes, we have a lot of people out there in the hallway. Do they have any chairs? Do we have any chairs that they can sit in?
What we have out in the hallway is what's out there at this time. We also have the monitors out there so they can view and see. The only thing about chairs is if we have a facility where more chairs can be gathered. Light Horse, do you have any additional chairs that you can bring over for the hallway to help with the seating of the people? Yeah, not very many. Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 that I can see right now. There's 5 back there. Yeah, just take it out there. This is the council floor, so we all know at the last meeting what happens sometimes when others are allowed to sit on the floor. And it's against our tribal code for other than council elected duly officials to be on the council floor. But please, Light Horse, if you'd take those chairs out to them and make it priority for elders, if there's elders out there, and any other chairs that might be gathered up, that would be of a great help. Representative Cootie, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Thank you. Thank you, each and every one who's helping and assisting with those chairs. We do have a full gallery tonight, and we thank our people for coming out to see the resolve that we're going to be discussing tonight. We also have the BCR Commission. The majority of them are here tonight. We also have via Ring Central, the director of the BCR. Is she with us now, Adam?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we do have the leadership of the Regulatory Commission here tonight. Obviously, that's the department that issues the tribal tags to our tribal members. Now, what we're going to try to do today and tonight is to continue to seek, solutions, resolve, and statements that we could make, but what our tribal members are to do if indeed they are stopped by the law enforcement agencies of the state of Oklahoma. Okay, now we have Representative McCoy.
Chair, before we get into business, since it is Veterans Day, there's celebrations today and tomorrow, could we at least take this moment to recognize our Native veterans that are here in our gallery or on the floor, please?
We sure can. This is the Veterans Observance Weekend, usually set for the 11th, but a lot celebrated today. If you're a veteran and you're here and you're able to stand, will you stand and be recognized at this time? Will you stand and be recognized? The Seminole Nation Executive Office and the General Counsel of the Seminole Nation recognizes this day, and we thank you for your service. Sometimes it's questioned about the history of the United States as it pertains against American Indian people, And that's a wide and vast history that is sometimes unsettling, many times unsettling. But by treaty, whenever there is something that is brought against these United States of America, it's in our present treaty of 1866 that Seminoles will rise and support the United States. So we thank you, veterans, for your service. We thank you for being here this evening. So with that being said, we are now in new business, and this is to discuss of the recent developments of the state of Oklahoma memorandum that came out from most likely written by the Oklahoma Highway Patrol or somebody within that department, and the actions toward Indian country of off-reservation card tags, and the Seminole Nation General Council's proposed response and or action. So we're going to ask our legal team and BCR. We want BCR to speak first because they have issued a statement of concern, but also a statement of resolve if indeed you are a tribal member and you are stopped, and what you are to do if they attempt to ticket you. So Sharon Scott, the director of BCR, are you here with us, and can you hear me? IT, see if you can get Ms. Scott to come up on the screen and make sure that we can hear her. We will also, we also have the commission here. Many of their commission is here, and we just gave away all the chairs, but if you would, we'll call you up one by one. Will the commission stand and be recognized so I can know who you are? We also have their attorney, Mr. Tim Brown here. We have Willis Dethridge. We have Stephanie Lambert. We have Dan Factor and Susie Harjo here tonight. And we, Chairman of the BCR, how do you wish to proceed in addressing the General Counsel of the Seminole Nation? Do you have a team that you want to come and take the mic and share some things? Why don't you come forth? And I think is Sharon online now? Yes. Okay. Ms. Scott, can you hear the conversation going forth at this time?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. All right. We have many of the commission that's coming forth now, and if you will just bear with us and just stand for the moment. If you would take that microphone, Mr. Brown, and put it out just a little. And when you speak to the General Counsel tonight, you speak into the microphone, not only for the council to be able to hear you, but also for those that may be watching on the recording and on the playback later, so they can understand what is being said as well. So, Chairman of the BCR, you have the floor at this time.
Okay, we're going to address the issues that have been recently surfaced, and we have a statement that we're going to be mailing out to all of those tag holders that live outside Seminole County or our jurisdiction. And I'm going to let Ramona, she's the head of our tag office, so she'll go ahead and read the statement.
Yes, speak into the mic, please.
Okay, it says, in light of the recent events regarding tribal tags issued to members living outside the jurisdictional boundaries of the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma, the Business and Corporation Regulatory Commission wants to know that we have been working diligently with our attorney and Attorney General's office to gather as much information as possible in order to keep you informed and provide our registered owners a plan of action if you are pulled over by the law enforcement. What to do if you get stopped. Remain calm, do not be argumentative, and comply with the request for documentations. Ask the officer why you got stopped. Remember you have the right to remain silent, but if you must comply with the identification request, such as your name and birth date, take a copy of the ticket and provide it to the BCR. It will have the information that we need on there, and then we'll forward that on to our Attorney Generals.
So we have had this pop up on us just like it popped up on everybody else. There have been rumors over the last couple of months, and we have been trying to address those, but we were trying to get facts. And recently there was actually a person that was stopped by an Oklahoma Highway Patrol, and they were issued a ticket for specifically, related to their tag. And so since that time that's happened just this week, we have been working on this, trying to put together a plan, trying to gather a lot of information because essentially I'm sure everybody knows that this is probably something that has originated from our governor. And he is trying to manipulate all of us. And so we don't want to be manipulated. We're not going to fall into his trap, and we're not going to let him use OHP or local highway patrol as pawns in his war against Indians in Indian country. And so that's the thing that we want everybody to remain calm. We're going to address those tickets individually if they ever are issued, especially within our jurisdiction. We have reached out to different partners that we've worked with. We've reached out to representatives from the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. I know that the Attorney General and I have a meeting next week. We're going to be talking to their attorneys to try to open those lines of communication because they didn't communicate any of this to us. And so that's going to be the next steps. We are still in the process of trying to decide what's going to be the best course of action because, again, I don't want to do what Stitt wants us to do. I want to do what's best for Seminole Nation and for all the tribes within Oklahoma. I think that's ultimately going to be what's in our best interest. I think that there are lots of different things that we can do. Some of them are more aggressive than others, and we will try to fight for our tribal members and make sure that they are not going to be targeted, and make sure that if they do receive a ticket, that we will help them address it. And so I don't want to go so far as to say what exactly we are going to do at this time, specifically because this is an open meeting, but do know and rest assured that we are going to stand up for our tribal members. We have.
Nico, this is your script right here. You're gonna address these?
Here you go. I revised this
I'm
one
just
right
gonna
here.
read, I'm gonna
Give
read
that one to him.
number 2 on this
I
list.
revised that.
Yeah, this one's short.
It's a little bit,
Crazy.
This one's shorter.
it was good.
It just looks like it's not as long. It's got 2 extra lines.
Tim might be making fun of my height, I'm not certain. No, that's okay, I got it, Tim. Thank you, though. It says, this number 2 says, the police cannot stop a vehicle solely for having a tribal tag. So remember, it is very, very, very important for you to ask the officer. I hope this never happens to anybody in this room or anybody in the Seminole jurisdiction or outside of the jurisdiction, actually. But make certain that you are calm. Make certain that you're not confrontational. Make certain that you ask the law officer, why did I get stopped? If it says you got a headlight out, then that's a different story. So it's just that kind of deal. But remember, you cannot be stopped just because you have a tribal tag. So it's very important. So, and we're working on this. I'm telling you, we had a meeting today. It was a 2-hour meeting, seemed like. We discussed a bunch of stuff. Some of that stuff that we cannot share with you right now. One of them, Tim Scott, no, what's your last name, Tim? Brown. Tim Brown, yeah, Tim Brown. If y'all need to call somebody, Tim Brown, y'all remember that name?
Chief, can I follow up? I just wanted to follow up. I agree with everything that Will has said, but that's just for our tribal members' information. Do not argue with law enforcement of any kind on the side of the road. That is just that's a recipe for getting arrested and bad things happening. Let us fight them. We'll fight them in court. So just trust that we're going to stand up for our people. Be calm, be polite, take the ticket if you get it. I've been assured that within our jurisdiction, OHP has no interest in writing tickets for this. So it's one of those things that if you're argumentative and you want to fight with them, that generally they're going to want to fight with you, and that doesn't work out well. But if you'll just take the ticket, take the BCR, then me and the Attorney General, we can address those tickets specifically and address them wherever they need to be addressed in whatever court we need to take them to, okay? Go ahead. Well, I can't remember who has their hand up first.
Representative Cootie?
Let's say I'm in Pottawatomie County. If I get a ticket, do I bring it to you? To
Yes.
the VCR?
Yes, and just to go back to that, that's something that has been out on social media. People have concerns about traveling. Traveling is not the issue here. That was something that was misconstrued by somebody who didn't understand what they were writing, and they wrote it, and now everybody's thinking, if I travel outside my reservation, they're gonna pull me over. That's not what the case is. And so if they do, they're not gonna, if you live within your reservation, they can't write you a ticket. If they do, we'll go get it dismissed. Okay, so the whole issue is for the tags that are for people that live outside the reservation. The difference is it's Indian country. That's the word. And so they keep trying to limit everything, but they keep misconstruing what the law is. And that's why we want to argue with them in court, not on the side of the road, okay? So I don't want anybody to have concerns about traveling to Oklahoma City, about traveling outside of our reservation. Like I said, the worst thing that they'll do is they'll write you a ticket that you're going to bring to the BCR, and then we're going to try to help you take care of it, okay? So let me
Because,
can I call on, or do you need to call on?
It's okay. Are you still holding the floor, Representative
Yes, I
Cootie?
am.
Okay.
one of the things that I was thinking about, we have a lot of our tribal members that have doctor appointments in cities and all these
Right.
other places, and I thought, well, that's not possible.
I want to reassure them that if they get pulled over in the city, we've had some other issues with people getting tickets in Oklahoma City, and we have a really good relationship with the Oklahoma City attorneys, and we've been trying to get those taken care of, but it doesn't stop. For some reason, we have that one of the police departments there in Oklahoma City keeps writing these dumb tickets that we then have to get dismissed. But I want everybody to feel confident that if you've got a doctor appointment, go to your doctor appointment. Don't be afraid. I think, honestly, that's what Stitt's done. He's just tried to make us all scared. And let's just refuse to be scared. Let's stand up to him as one and just say, no, we're not going to be scared of you. You're not going to have OHP out here. And it's not all of the OHP. I want everybody to understand. We have some really good OHP officers, specifically within Seminole County. They're great partners. They're not going to harass you. And if they write you a ticket, it comes to me. I'm the prosecutor for Seminole Tribal Court. Does that make sense? It's like, and they are not writing tickets for anything that's frivolous. I'll tell you that. The tickets we get from OHP are very serious. They're DUI. They're people that are going, 20 miles over the speed limit. It's serious stuff. So they're not pulling over tribal members writing tickets for frivolous things like, well, we think your tag is for whatever reason, So just rest assured that we have good partners. And if you do happen to encounter one of those bad ones, wherever you may go, just be polite. And it may just, you may win the fight just by that, because they may be wanting to pick a fight with you. Don't let them. Don't let them manipulate you, because that's all they're trying to do is manipulate us as a tribe. They're trying to manipulate Muskogee Creek Nation. They're trying to manipulate all these other tribes. And we're not going to do it. We're not going to play his game. We're going to make him play within our rules. And so I want to reassure everybody that we are going to address these things. If we can, we're going to try to address them one by one if it happens. We don't have any tickets yet. But if you do get one, call Ramona, and she will get copies of it, and then she'll get it to me and to the Attorney General. So.
All right, thank you.
Representative McCoy and then Representative Fixico.
Do we have a right, if we're pulled over, to ask for their name and badge number?
It'll be on the ticket.
Okay, if you get a ticket though. But say you just... I mean.
You can
I'm
ask
just
for
asking,
it.
I don't have a ticket or a warning, I guess. When you
You
get a
can-
warning, is that on a ticket too or something?
Yes, their information should be on all their paperwork.
Okay.
And OHP they have a very standard form, everything, and it's got their stuff automatically on there, so if you want to ask for it, I don't think that they shouldn't have a problem with that. Just don't fight with them with that if they tell you
Right,
no.
right, okay. And my next question is, this is just for OHP. This is an OHP thing that they've been directed. So like for like the town I live in, city cops or county sheriffs, I shouldn't be expecting them to pull me over unless I'm breaking the law, I guess speeding or something, correct?
That would be a reasonable assumption, but we also know that we have other law enforcement officers that are not our friends. And so if any law enforcement officer gives you a hard time,
Just asking the same questions,
yes,
doing what you.
send us the ticket, because we have seen, there are some local police departments, not around here. All of our police departments here are our partners and they work well with us. But if you're in, western Oklahoma, I don't know what they're gonna do, but bring us the ticket and then we can go out there and go bring them before a judge and make them answer some questions they're not gonna wanna answer.
Okay. Thanks, Tim.
Representative Fixco, then Representative from the, well, I saw her hand first. You, Representative Borba? Was you just waving towards her? Okay, then it'd be Representative Fulbright, after Representative Fixco.
If you get a ticket, would this affect your insurance premium?
I can't answer that question. That's gonna be something that generally the insurance companies are gonna look at.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking about. If you got a ticket, it affects your premium, and it hurts you, because that's your,
It is possible, but my recollection, and I actually used to work in insurance a long, long time ago, is it's usually moving violations that they're gonna raise your rate on. So a tag issue should not, but I can't, nowadays they go off on your credit rating as much as anything.
Thank you.
Representative Fulbright?
Okay, my question is, when an individual, like say in Shawnee, gets a ticket for their tag, and they're outside the Seminole jurisdiction, and they live there, they bought their tag through the Seminole Nation VCR. Does that ticket that's issued, does it go to the city of Shawnee, or will that ticket be going to the tribal courts?
It's gonna depend on the officer. So if it's OHP, it should go to the county court.
So they are to appear in the county court?
Well, and again, if somebody from Shawnee were to get a ticket, they're gonna send it to VCR, and hopefully we'll be able to go and help you address that. Mm-hmm. But again, the very specifics, I don't want to get into in an open meeting, because again, that's going to be essentially legal
That's
strategy.
fine. Yeah.
But we have been thinking about that. We are going to address that, and hopefully we can kind of nip that in the bud.
So, and then, gosh, what was my other question? I'll think of it here in a minute.
And any of the council members, if you don't have my phone number, you can get it. There's enough of you that do have it. You can contact me directly, and I'll try to talk to you directly one-on-one as much as possible. I know Karen knows how to.
So will that ticket be addressed by that, let's say that you got to go to court on the 11th on your ticket. That will be addressed before that date, so a warrant's not issued for these individuals?
So so just to follow up on what Ramona talked about, we've talked to Ramona. Whenever you send your ticket to Ramona and the VCR, we're going to create a spreadsheet. We're going to have your name, where it was at, and your court date, what court, so that way we know we have to address it before this date. And then we're also going to, we'll need their contact information so we can communicate with you, so that way you'll know whether or not do you need to be there, do you not need to be there. But yes, we're trying to think of everything and try to make sure that we don't want anybody getting a warrant. So,
Representative Cootie?
Ms. Brown, would you give us your number?
how about not in the open meeting? How about I'll give it to you after the meeting, or And anybody that needs it, the AG's got my number. I know Brian Palmer's got my number. I know Representative Deathridge has my number. Representative Lambert's got my number. Karen, do you still have my number? And so, yeah, it hadn't changed. It hadn't changed in 20 years. So. And I know that there's, among the council, I feel free to share it with a council member, band chiefs, anybody that's in official capacity. So.
For those that's not in official capacity, Mr. Brown is the prosecutor. He's also the attorney for the Bureau of Regulatory Commission. So feel free to contact the Regulatory Commission with any questions that you would like to address to the BCR. And if it's a legal question, obviously they'll get with Mr. Brown and or our Attorney General. So that gives a relief to our tribal members too. Not only elected members of the Seminole Nation should have direct access to resolve in this particular situation. So if they can contact the BCR, then they can relate their message or their content of their information to the legal counsel.
Absolutely, and I apologize for leaving out any of our tribal members.
I saw Representative Gonzalez, then Representative Shaw.
In the same scenario as Mrs. Fulbright was mentioning, if you went to court and you lost, who would pay the fine?
That's another issue that we've been talking about. I think before I don't want to address that in an open meeting.
Okay.
Okay, before we get off that subject matter, our tribal members want to know. They want to know that they are secure when they applied for application for a tag for the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma. So the Seminole Nation should have their back. The Seminole Nation should have their back. And I'm telling you right now, it's not, if this continues to be something that's exercised outside of the jurisdiction, within the exterior boundaries of the reservation of the Seminole Nation, then the Seminole Nation should have their back. And when I say that, I mean there has to be some action by the General Council, the governing body of the Seminole Nation. So before we leave tonight, we want you to answer that, okay? That we're going to have their back, okay? Because you're the ones that appropriate things. We got to show where our responsibilities are, and we will take those responsibilities serious. Representative Shaw.
A little bit of information. There wasn't anybody around when we first started this back in 88 or 89. And that's when we took on the state of Oklahoma. Sac and Fox Nation were chosen to be the ones to do this because they were the least likely to win when they went to court. We did write amicus briefs along with that, should have anyway, I think we did. But the thing is, this Sac and Fox case only requires vehicles to be garaged in Indian country. We had a statement from the Seminole Nation, according to their own laws at that time, that as long as you did business within this said nation, that's the reason we don't have mail-out tags. Unless it's changed recently, because you do, when you come down here and get your tag, you're doing business within your reservational area. That's the reason that they left us alone. They backed off on us, and we never went any further than that. But I strongly agree with the chair that when we leave here tonight, that we have a definite plan of action, and that we do back our Seminole people. We may even have to back some others that live here in Seminole County. Some of y'all are not married to Native Americans, or if you're married to another tribe. We're going to have your back if you've got a Seminole tag. We're backing the tag of the Seminole Nation. So therefore, BCR, before y'all leave tonight, please help us put together a plan of action that we can stay with, because I for one, am not giving up one iota of our sovereignty. And if that means I gotta go to jail, so be it, I'll go. But we're not leaving here without something in hand tonight, so, that's all I want to say, Monroe.
Representative Shaw might, I want to expound, take this mic down just a little bit under volume, please. Do you have yours on? If you have yours on, turn it off. Thank you. The clarification would be this: only if it's tag related, okay? If it's a proper violation and a violation is issued for something else that's not tag related, obviously, we would suppose they have an expired tag or something of that nature. Okay, so let's be clear on it. That doesn't mean just because you're going 95 in a 30-mile-an-hour zone and you say, well, the Seminole Nation's going to have our back on this. Okay, it's the tag. It has to do with the tag, and that's where it's at. I know that's understood here, and it's probably should be common understood everywhere, but we need to make sure that that's the clarity that's expressed here. As the Attorney Brown has stated, they're trying to cause division in Indian country. They're trying to redefine Indian country because of the reservation status of many of the tribes, the 5 tribes plus the Osage and the Quapaw. They're trying to separate reservation and Indian country. And most of Oklahoma, as we know, all of Oklahoma except possibly the Panhandle at one time was Indian country. So that's what the ruling says, as Representative Shaw had elaborated upon. It doesn't say reservation, it says Indian country. And Indian country, if you're over in Ponca country, that's Indian country. If you're over there in Potawatomi country, then that's Indian country. So we want our people to know Indian country is well defined in federal law. Indian country is also well defined in Internal Revenue Code as well. I don't agree totally with the Internal Revenue Code as that definition of Indian country, but it also defines it for Internal Revenue Service perspectives. Any other questions for the BCR? Representative Deathridge?
Yes, sir. I don't know whether all the concerns of the gallery have been addressed. Do we have a mic that we can walk back there and see if anybody's got a question?
What we do if the council desires, not the BCR commission, but if the council desires, then there will be folks that can address, on the council floor. And I'm going to explain that. This is not a public meeting. This is a general council meeting of the governing body of the Seminole Nation. And the council calls anyone that wishes to speak up, then that's when you will approach the floor. We will, if that's everything for BCR at this moment, we could have the Attorney General take the middle mic and explain some of the points that she has also made. Representative Hill, I see your hand.
Yes, now, I need a clarification, all right? The chairman here states that anything to do with tribal tax, okay? What type of offense must a person commit in order to be cited that has to do with tribal tax? For speeding, okay? That has nothing to do with tribal tax.
Correct.
So would you mind telling me what type of offense our people would be aware of or be on the lookout if an OHP stops you?
If OHP writes you a citation for an invalid tag, that's the magic words.
Invalid, you're talking about expired?
No, invalid means that it was never good in the first place.
So they'd have to run a check on you first,
Well, they would.
but they'd have to have a reason to stop you first.
Yes, probable cause.
Yeah, they'd have to have, and that's getting more into the legal arguments that we want to preserve. We want to hang on to all the different arguments that we have. But yeah, if they have a citation for an invalid tag, now I heard some of the people, as I was walking in, concerned that, well, they'll make up a reason. Well, maybe they will, but the thing is then we can go and we can cross-examine them and say, you know, well, you said you pulled them over for speeding, where's the radar reading or whatever you're using? Where's the evidence? Because the thing is, if they pulled them over and they wrote them a ticket for an invalid tag, we're going to be looking at it real close. If they pulled them over for DUI and they happen to add in an invalid tag on there, at least within our jurisdiction, that's probably not going to be the main concern. We're not going to worry about the invalid, we're going to worry about the DUI. And I think that's what Chief was wanting to make sure that if you get a DUI, if you're going 20 over, that's not the same as you got pulled over, they wrote you a $249 ticket saying that your tag's not valid because it's a travel tag, then we're gonna have your back. I think that's what Chief wants to make sure that and that's specifically, you know, what we've seen on social media. That's what it was. That's how it was presented. I don't know what she got pulled over for, honestly.
Okay, thank you.
Tim, can you address what I understood was at this time there hasn't been no tickets issued to Seminole tribal members. Has that been verified or confirmed, or is that something that was discovered a while back and something has developed since then?
We're not aware of any Seminole tribal member that has received a ticket for an invalid tag, but I believe that both the Seminole Nation and the Muskogee Creek Nation have been singled out among various other nations. And essentially, the way that they were singled out was Cherokee, Chickasaws, and Choctaws were excluded. They were told that, hey, they've got a compact with the state that allows them that they're not going to be harassed. And so I think that's the thing that we wanted to make sure and address everybody's concerns, because we see all the people here. We know everybody's talking about this. And we know that people are concerned. I mean, can I go to my doctor's appointment? We want to make sure that everybody knows you can go to your doctor's appointment and Seminole Nation will have your back. And I didn't want to say that before, but now that the Chief has said it, we're going to have your back. And I want you to know that we're going to stand up and we're going to fight for you, because, you know, this is wrong and this is not something that we're going to stand for. This is just something that the governor has decided he wants to try to pick a fight, and we're here.
Any other questions for BCR? Because our Attorney General is going to take the microphone. Representative Borba.
Thank you, Chair. I believe in the article that I read that the person was an Osage and her ticket was failure to pay taxes due to state. Is that correct?
I believe that's the ticket.
Okay, thank you.
And I think she was Oto, Missouri.
Okay.
That's what and again, we're all looking at social media, or we're looking at the news, and I don't know what that is, but I know that if one of our tribal member gets one, they're gonna contact the BCR. Everybody knows how to get a hold of the BCR, because if you got a tag from the BCR, you know where they're at. You contact them, and then they're gonna communicate with us and make sure that we have it. We'll be on top of it.
I believe the BCR also had several copies of what you read earlier, of what to do if you were to get stopped. And if you'll make sure that everyone in the gallery that are tribal members or spouses will have a copy of that. And it will be posted on the social media sites of the Seminole Nation. And I realize that once it's posted there, it will go on other media sites, at least that statement of what to do. And our people, that's one of the main questions, is what happens if we get stopped because of our tag. And you know, you have, when you try to harass folks, I mean, I'm saying this because Attorney Brown had stated that the other 3 tribes that are part of the 5 civilized tribes has a compact, and within that compact is the wording, our people won't be harassed. Is that the type of language that's in that compact? It's similar to that, maybe not exact language. Well, I'm going to tell you, you don't need a compact to have the civil rights within the United States of America and or the state of Oklahoma or the Indian civil rights to be able to say we don't want to be harassed. So you don't have to have a compact to make that statement. Representative Lena, and then Representative Thunder.
Judge Brown, okay, I moved back to this area, say, 10 and a half years ago. And where we came from, we already had our tags from the Ponca tribe. So we drive around here with the Ponca tribe tag. So, but I'm a Seminole member. So if I was to get stopped, I'll still be able to come to you guys for that.
I believe that if you get stopped on our reservation, I believe Representative Shaw was alluding that we may have to try to help out people. I think you should call the BCR, and I don't want to sit here and make promises I can't deliver on, but it's my intent to try to help every tribal member, every Indian that we can.
We do have a responsibility in our tribal courts if one submits to the authority of the tribal courts, especially Native people. So there's some correlation there that goes along with that, of the responsibility of, at least from a legal point of view. Okay, she will after the last council representative are called upon, text the floor. Okay, we'll call upon her. Yeah, they let me know that she's on. Representative Thunder, and then Ms. Scott, we'll be glad to hear from you.
Okay, so my question is, say if we go out of state and say that state's highway patrol thinks our tags are iffy, pulls us over, and then we get a ticket for invalid tag, would it still apply, or do you have to be pulled over in Oklahoma?
No, you call BCR. We've been dealing with Florida for years. We had issues in Florida for a long time, but since the BCR, we report all of our tag data to OLETs, which is the same resource that all law enforcement use. Out of state, they can access our tags. Sometimes they don't know how to, and there may be mix-ups that way, but we have been taking care of that issue for a long time prior to this. So if you go out of state, you know, like I said, this is not something that has been clearly communicated. I think there's a lot of misinformation. You know, I know that's a popular word, but STIT has completely tried to make this a safety issue when the reality is that most of these tribes, we're on OLET, which is all the law enforcement have access to our tag information.
Right.
There are other parties that would like access to our tag information that may be part of this issue too. But, you know, that's not something I want to go into right now because, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on with this. And again, I think this is Governor Stitt trying to manipulate the tribes and try to tear us apart. You know, we have been in contact with our other partners, the other Cherokee, Chickasaws, and Choctaws, and tried to encourage them, hey, we're all in this together. And so hopefully we're going to stand strong and we're going to stand up to Stitt, and he's not going to win.
We have where we're a part of the reporting process, and whenever someone says it's a safety issue, that was pretty much the reason that was given, that there's some tribes that they can't get the reports from about that tag that was issued to that specific individual that may be driving that vehicle. But I'm going to read this. It says, Seminole Nation reports to OLETs, which is the Oklahoma Law Enforcement Telecommunication Systems. The Seminole Nation continues to share information for safety and security of all Oklahomans. The Seminole Nation currently shares license plate information with the state of Oklahoma and Oklahoma law enforcement. The developing situation of stopping vehicles with Seminole tags would not be a safety issue because of this reporting process that we have in place and have had in place for some time now. This would not be a safety issue as some may have stated, but it would be an attack on sovereignty. And on this attack on sovereignty, we are steadfast to defend it as the Seminole Nation elected leaders of our people and as Seminole people. And now we have Ms. Scott, who is joining us via Ring Central, a form of Zoom. Ms. Scott, you have the floor now. Ms. Scott, you have the floor now.
Okay, I just wanted to say thank you for having us here. And it's important that tribal members have their insurance and their registrations up to date. I can't stress enough that that will give a law enforcement officer less of a reason to write you a ticket. I have been working with several tribes throughout the state and their attorneys, and we've been in constant contact, and we plan on meeting sometime next week to discuss this issue further. Our team has been working diligently since Wednesday, gathering as much information as we could. And we are here to support you. Call us if you have any questions. If you get a ticket, make sure that you call the tag office and relay that information to us so that we can forward that on to the AG's office.
If it pertains to an invalid ticket, invalid license ticket, clarification again, invalid license tag ticket. Representative Fixico.
There's been a lot of members afraid to travel out of the county, and they're saying they're stopping cars. Should they be fearing that just because they're going to work or something out of the county? Because they're starting to stop them, I think. And they're just worried about their, this issue, the tag issue. But should they be afraid if they're going to work and coming home? Is there something we should worry about there?
Yes.
I don't want any of our tribal members to be afraid. They have no reason to be afraid. If this situation occurs, remain calm, and then provide us with the ticket, and then we're going to have your back. We're going to have your tribal members back. We're going to have your band members back. We're going to help you fight if they try to pick on any of our tribal members. So again, it's one of those things that I can't reassure you more, and I understand that everybody's have different levels of fear and anxiety, but I want to reassure that the Seminole Nation is going to have your back, and don't make things worse by arguing with the police officers. Just take the ticket, bring it to the BCR.
I'll expound a little bit. If our tribal members are having fears and anxiety, log it. Tell in a log, a journal, how you are feeling and what this situation, I have another word for it, but I'm going to use the word situation, how this situation is making you feel. We will not stand for harassment. You say there was a compact made to not have harassment done. Well, we will not stand for harassment as well. As the Seminole people, as elected leaders of the Seminole Nation, we will stand in that way. Record it in a journal, because if it goes further into the areas of legalities, we will need to have that on record, how you're feeling. You got anxiety because of, when folks do that, they're responsible for creating that type of atmosphere or hostile environment. And I look for us to hold those responsible to the fullest extent of law as it develops and when we have to do that and when we do that. At least that's the way I look at it as the chief. If that's everything for BCR, we do have our Attorney General. She's going to expound a little bit. So we thank the BCR Commission and their employees for being here. Ms. Scott, we pray you have safe travel and mercies on your way to another training, and then when you come back here to the Seminole Nation. Thank you very much. It's always good to see Mr. Factor as well, and all the BCR Commission. Mr. Factor, as we know, was a former Assistant Chief of the Seminole Nation. Okay, tribal members in the gallery, those watching by video, and those that perhaps are watching outside of the gallery on the screens. This is Miss Valerie Duvall of Duvall and Associate. She is the Attorney General for the Seminole Nation. She's going to come and address the council at this time.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. I would like to, I guess, go over some of the legal aspects of what's going on without giving too much detail, as Mr. Brown. Okay. As Mr. Brown has said, we probably don't want to talk about everything that's happening. The other thing I want to do tonight is something I kind of call fact and fiction. So you see a lot of things on Facebook. You hear a lot of news reports. You hear things, gossip, or talk from friends. And sometimes things get lost in translation. So let's just, at least from the AG's perspective, go back to what the law is and not people's opinions and hearsay and things like that. So I know not everyone can see this, but you can pull this map up online, and I think most of you have seen it. This is what Indian country is, and we would argue that some of this is Indian country also. All right? So if you have a tribal tag and your house is in Indian country, as Representative Shaw pointed out and we pointed out, the Sack and Fox case, we believe, the AG's research believes, that case that garaged in their tribal jurisdiction, that was part of their own law. Our law does not have that restriction in it, all right? If you're a Seminole tribal member, you can get a Seminole tag. Our law doesn't say. But keep in mind, this was also a 1993 case, a 30-year-old case, right? And so those things you see online that say your vehicle has to be garaged in your tribe's jurisdiction, that's not accurate. And I'm not even sure what garaged means. I mean, does it have to be garaged one day a week? And Representative Shaw brought up the point about, where you work or where your car is most of the time, or if you loan your car to someone. So these are things that the police cannot determine if they stop you. I want to go back to Representative Borba's question. I do not know firsthand, but I do believe that the Oto tribal member that was stopped for speeding. And then they checked her driver's license against her tag, and she admitted that she did not live in her jurisdiction. I've read 2 or 3 news reports, and I believe that's what Chairman Shotton also reported. But regardless, I believe she lived in Indian country. So we have had some other issues like Mr. Brown alluded to about some tickets that we've resolved. So sometimes there is a misunderstanding. But let's go on. So we briefly touched on the Sack and Fox case. It was a U.S. Supreme Court case. Everybody, I think, knows that, but the U.S. Supreme Court is still the supreme law of the land, all right? They interpret our laws and they tell us how to act. So the state of Oklahoma cannot unilaterally decide to reinterpret a U.S. Supreme Court case. That's not their job. They don't get to do that. And only Congress, through treaties, and we can talk about our treaties, has the right to interpret rights, I suppose, that Indian tribes have. And unless we have given up a right, and a tribal tag is a tax, the state does not get to unfairly tax us when our laws and the federal government and Congress has said we cannot be taxed. So they can't disguise a tax in a safety issue, which is kind of what it sounds like they're trying to do. Does anybody have any questions about Sack and Fox or that case? I'm not sure. Let me just kind of go through some of the treaties and laws first. So, our 1856 treaty, everybody's probably familiar with that. 2 sections of this treaty are very important, and some of the things we're working on with the other attorneys kind of figure into this, but Article 4 of our 1856 treaty, and y'all can find me if you want copies of these. I'll send you links or I'll send you the treaties, all right? Y'all all deserve to have copies of your treaties. It says that you have a right of free passage. It's talking about the Creeks and the Seminoles over each other's land. So think about the highways that go through Creek and Seminole land. You guys have free passage no matter what, even if everything else was wrong or goes away, you still have a treaty that says you have free passage over the Muskogee Creek Nation lands, and they have free passage over our lands. So that is still in effect, has not been taken away. There's one other section of this, I think. I think I just read, that's Article 4, is what, I thought it was Article 13. Hold on one second. Oh, Article 13 was free passage. Article 4 is the article that says that, what I was talking about a minute ago, that the state of Oklahoma, no one else can pass laws for the government of the creek, or this is Seminole Land Creek, that violate this treaty. So again, the state of Oklahoma cannot unilaterally pass a law that violates a treaty that we have with the federal government. I'll bring up the 1866 treaty briefly because it says basically that everything in this treaty is still in effect even after 1866.
Things that are not inconsistent.
That aren't, exactly. So everything, even 10 years later, everything from all the prior treaties that are not inconsistent are still in effect. And this, I believe, was our last treaty. And so that's Article 9 of the 1866 treaty.
Let me share this why Attorney General's doing something there. This is the treaties that she's referring to. It says, whereas it is necessary for simplification and better understanding of the relations between the United States and said Creek and Seminole tribes of Indians, that all their subsistent treaty stipulations shall as far as practicable be embodied in one comprehensive instrument. And that's the instrument she was reading from. The United States do hereby solemnly agree and bind themselves that no state or territory shall ever pass laws for the government of the Creek or Seminole Indians, tribes of Indians. And it says a lot more, it's a lot more explicit than that. You should read Article 4. We have had heavy discussions with the leadership of the Muskogee Creek Nation. Over the years, as the Assistant Chief of the Seminole Nation, many of you know I spent many years in the area of history, study, curation, consultation for scholars over the course of the last 25 years, and I believe this portion is something we have never used as Seminole or Creeks in the area of defense and exercise of our full sovereignty. It may be time that we move in that direction. But read Article 4 of the 1856 treaty.
All right, next I'm going to go over 3 memorandums from the State Department of Public Safety, and I'm going to save the best one for last, but I think that this short memorandum was posted on the internet somewhere, and this may be what started all the problems. This was the one talking about stopping people just because of their tribal tag. And you've seen this one, right, the short one? That is inconsistent with the one I'm going to read in a minute. And then there is a 2-page, I guess, advice memorandum about stopping people and who goes where, like which court you go to, when you can stop, kind of a yes/no checklist, like a diagram of what the officers should do. And then I found, or I was actually sent, a 1997 Department of Public Safety memo that interprets the Sack and Fox case correctly, as it should be. And this memo, and we can circulate these if you want to see them, says that anyone with a valid tribal tag under Oklahoma Statute 1151, it's 47 OS 1151, and that's the tag code, license plate code. If you have a valid tribal tag, it should be treated just like you have a valid Oklahoma tag. All right, so you have every right that everybody driving in Oklahoma has. And this memo also talks about driver's licenses and says that none of this should affect your driver's license. So There are other statutes reflected in this, but that's the main one, 47 OS 1151. All right, but let's talk about what these memos are. These are just memos. These are their policies and procedures. These are something that was memos that were issued by, the BCR executive director was correct. We've talked to many of the tribal lawyers this week. This is a tribal issue for all the tribes, big tribes, small tribes. And, everyone is concerned about it, but these are just policy statements. They aren't legally binding. I don't know who's issuing these, but at some level they have incorrect law on them. And we need to either educate, we need to be good community partners, but we need to make sure that the correct law, that Indian country is where you can have a tribal tag, not just your reservation, is upheld, because that's the law that the U.S. Supreme Court gave us. And now that I've gotten to U.S. Supreme Court, I'm going to kind of piggyback on what Mr. Brown said. Our governor has been trying since McGirt passed to get a definition of Indian country, okay? And so when the Sack and Fox case said Indian country, I feel like this is another attempt to try to define what Indian country is. And I'm sorry, but just like Chief said, right now Indian country is all of the pretty colors on the map and maybe more. And so he cannot, by force or by trying to impose a tax, more or less, redefine Indian country when the U.S. Supreme Court refuses to do that. So I don't know what the plan is, why he thinks that's going to be effective, but I even have an Attorney General opinion, you're probably going to get mad at me for saying this, where one of the former Attorney Generals went into 18 U.S.C. 1151 and said, on a tag issue, use it for both civil and criminal. And if you remember what the McGirt argument the Governor Stitt's group keeps making is that definition of Indian country only applies in criminal cases, not civil. And speeding tickets are, for the most part, civil and misdemeanor, right? Unless they're really bad. So he's trying to redefine Indian country again for his own purposes in a way that is, a defiance of our sovereignty, and we shouldn't stand for that. So we are all meeting. Like I said, it's not just a intertribal, it's not just a 5 tribes issue. All of the other tribes are very concerned about this, especially those that don't have very defined reservations. But if you'll remember, and it was part of the Sack and Fox case, their reservation isn't very big. And the U.S. Supreme Court even talked about the checkerboard allotments and where they would drive. So they've understood that some of the tribes do have smaller reservations, but all of Indian country should be respected for these purposes. So that's, I think I touched on everything I've seen on Facebook, but if you've seen anything else you want to discuss, go ahead, let's talk about it.
Floor is open. The floor is open. Representative Gonzalez, you have the floor.
I saw on the television where Governor Stitt was making an announcement about it, and he mentioned a federal law. And I don't remember the exact wording of it, but the gist of it was that in that law, it says that Indian country is defined as your reservation.
I would like to see that, but that is inaccurate.
That was on the news.
Do not believe anything that comes out of Governor Stitt's mouth.
Well, he was smiling a lot when he said it.
Well, do not believe anything that comes out of Governor Stitt's mouth. He has not said anything that has been completely accurate in regards to anything related to Indian law, Indian country. Like the AG said, he's at this point he's trying to dip his toe into civil jurisdiction. At the same time, on the income tax case, which I actually think this is related to because arguments are set for the end of this month.
Yes.
And he knows he's going to lose on the income tax issue.
That's exactly right.
He wants his cake. He wants to eat it too. He wants civil jurisdiction over Indians, but he wants to say that we don't have civil jurisdiction over Indians. And so it's one of those things that Don't believe anything that he
Yeah.
says.
If anything, the definition of Indian country is more broad than what we're talking about, like the definition of Indian country for Indian child welfare, even more broad. Or the definition for the tax code, as Chief was
Dependent
saying.
Indian communities.
Yeah, independent, all of those.
Dependent Indian
So
communities.
there is no one federal law, that's why we're fighting.
Representative Cootie.
This article, it says, News 9 reached out to Governor Kevin Stitt this morning and received a statement from his team. And this is what they said. This is addressing a significant public safety issue that puts law enforcement and others at risk. If a tribal government won't share vehicle registration information with DPS, we can't keep our officers and our streets safe. Member of the tribe with a valid compact that provides needed car registration information will not be ticketed. Oklahoma Highway Patrol is simply enforcing the law and following U.S. Supreme Court precedent. So,
And that's why we expounded that we are actually sharing information through the OLETs and have been for some time. So if a tribal member with a Seminole tag is stopped solely because they have a tribal tag, then that shouldn't be considered a safety issue at all, because our information is being shared as that you expounded upon that statement. And I shared that with the news channel out there, that Seminole tribal tag vehicle should not be stopped because we share our information. So it's not a safety issue is what I expounded on.
well, that's
As far as for invalid tags.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I couldn't understand. I didn't know that we caused so much problems on the highways. So I said, it just don't make sense.
Well, and let's just go ahead and tack onto that. How long have we been driving with tribal tags?
Yeah.
Representative Shaw, you remember, you said, what, 88, 87? And now, huh?
Don't be mean.
Last term, we came to the council floor, we were sitting in the gym, and we talked to those attorneys about that, and that's what came up with, that it didn't say nothing about, they talked about being garage, but then they made it broader. Our nation went ahead and said, as long as they were doing business. And if you come down here and I have to make that at the BCR, am I not doing business in my territory? So that business, that's when they diverted and went towards the second part because of their laws over there. They were almost shooing. Right now, what we're looking at is look like that we're going to have to change the man's diaper and give him a bottle of sex.
Yep.
And again, don't believe anything that's attributed to Governor Stitt.
There was a United Indian Nations of Oklahoma meeting, an emergency meeting on this topic this afternoon. This is more talking about the attorney sharing information. I believe that at least 20 tribes in the state that issue tags that aren't the 3 that Kevin Stitt likes, share with OLETs. So him, and keep in mind that not all tribes issue tags. So him acting like this is a public safety emergency is inaccurate because OLETs has most of the information. And OLETs has your information, but they cannot share with the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority, which is probably where this originated because they're mad about Pike Pass.
One of the things that the past governors, they were on TV, and that was exactly what they were telling Governor Stitt. Need to learn to work with the tribes because the tribe do contribute a lot to the state of Oklahoma. And they said they never had any problem. They, worked with them. And so I think they were trying to remind him that what he's doing now or what he was going to do, I think they were trying to remind him that just give it up. And I know one legislator told him that one time and said, you're spending too much money, so just give it up. When the Jimmy McGirt's law came through and everything, so he didn't want this state to turn into a reservation and, they're going to take all the rights away from us. And so it's all personal, and you know it, I know it. Thank you.
I believe I saw an article today that the Sack and Fox lawyer had contacted Gettner Drummond, the Attorney General, and that he was analyzing, the situation, probably the prior Attorney General opinions, and would have a statement soon. So I hope that the State Attorney General comes out in favor of the law, as he usually does, and not necessarily on the side of the governor, which he doesn't do. And what you've alluded to is the governor likes to hire his own lawyers because he doesn't like what the Attorney General tells him and spend a bunch of taxpayer money.
I know everybody has grown accustomed to a certain manner and way that I present myself and act myself for probably since I was a kid up to this point. But I will say that several of us last night, when we heard they were stopping, vehicles over towards Okemah because they had tribal tags, we were fixing to load up in the vehicle. And I'm talking about several officers of the Seminole Nation, and we were heading that direction to go through that roadblock to see what they would do. But the thing of it is I got a call, an emergency call. My little girl, my youngest, one of my younger daughters had to go to the hospital emergency. I don't know if that was divine intervention or what, to keep your chief out of jail. But no, I do make strong statements like that. You that know me over the years know that's to be the truth. I walk with the folks who stand for Indian people, and I don't mind doing it, and I'll continue to do it. That's just who I am as a person, how I've been raised. So I think the Attorney General's office, do you got some more information? Any questions for the Attorney General?
No questions.
Representative McCoy.
Sorry. No questions, just like you stated, if you could circulate some of those documents you mentioned, because not all of us were privy to that, like the treaties and those memos, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to take this time to thank each and every one of you for turning out tonight. The BCR Commission, tribal members, those that are of interest in these developments. I also want to thank the executive office team of the Assistant Chief and the Principal Chief of the Seminole Nation. We've done a lot of the historical research that some of it was presented to you tonight, and we enjoy doing that. It's part of what we do. And I just want to say that I wanted to call this meeting because it was a must call, because our people need to know what our action is as a Seminole Nation leadership, governing body and executive office. And we are going to be going to the National Congress of the American Indian, and there is going to be discussion on this issue happening in Oklahoma before all the tribes represented at the National Congress of the American Indian, and we will be speaking on behalf of the Seminole Nation before that Congress on Monday. So pray for us that the Creator will give us the wisdom, salt our tongue with the proper words to say in all situations and to all men. And at this time, is there any other comments on tonight? Representative Narcomi, I do want the council not only to assure our people they back in them, but I want to, it's only you that can determine an appropriation, to help out in this case, if it does happen, of invalid tags with the Seminole Nation. I think everything that was shared tonight, we haven't had a report of an invalid tag represented by the Oklahoma Highway Patrol with the Seminole Nation tags. I know there's a lot of concern about it, but at this point, we haven't heard of an official one that's taken place. When that does happen, though, we're going to report some of the things here that's allowed to report, and these statements need to be placed out there where our tribal members can have readily access to them. Representative Narcomi, you have the floor.
I'm going to propose that the General Counsel issue a statement stating that we as the nation oppose object and will fight this measure with everything we have, and that we, I don't know if condemn is too strong a word, but we, I guess condemn would have to suffice for now, but the governor for, putting us in this position to have to oppose this stand that he's put us in, this position that he's put us in. I think that we as a council should issue a formal statement to that effect.
That may take some time to write up. But
Well,
yes,
I mean-
I believe that the governing body ought to speak as well. But foremost, I think the governing body ought to do what the governing body does, and that is to pass legislation that takes care of some of these things that became a concern. And you are the ones that make appropriations. I will say that we submitted for some funds, and you know those funds. Some of it's funding the comprehensive budgets or pieces of the comprehensive budget. And we are very stewardess of our funds that we receive, and every funds that the Seminole Nation has going through the tribal treasury gets appropriated right here from this governing body, at least under this administration. And I would say go ahead and help specifically on any invalid tags that might come into our tribal courts, that we do have our people's back, and part of having our people back is appropriating a little bit of fun to have their back. So is there anyone willing to do that tonight? And I know it was basically to cover these things, but if we're going to say we're going to have our people back, and when they come in, we're going to have to have a little.
What would be a good start?
Ooh, my lands. I hope it doesn't happen at all. That we must have a little bit there in case it was to
What would be
happen.
a good start?
Tim, are you still out there? Tim, would you approach, because I know you were speaking on this measure, and then you got the support of the executive office, and the council also elaborated on it. Don't ask an attorney what's a good start, because my lambs.
Well,
No, I'm just teasing, Tim, you know that, but
So ask it again, what was the question?
you know where we said we had going to have our tribal members back, and God forbid that we get caught up in a bunch of invalid tag ticketing by Oklahoma Highway Patrol. But if we're going to have their back, we got to have a resource that supports us having their back. So that's what he's asking. How much is a good start?
I think it probably be probably 25,000. I think that is, and hopefully we don't have to spend it on that. But the thing is that if we have to fight, or if we have to pay tickets, or if we have to do whatever we have to do, I think that that's probably, again, I know that myself and the attorney general.
Would y'all think 15 is a good, something to get started?
And I understand that you haven't had any meetings with your band over these things, but sometimes there are things that have to be taken care of because it's the right thing to do. And I don't know that you'll have any complaint from your bands if you were to pass some measure of this, because I think everybody was supporting the measure. We're going to have your back. So if that's going to be put in the form of a motion, that money that we applied for, that we still have funds there, we could say LATCF. That's where the resource would come from there. And we'll create an account if the council passes it
Then I make
in
some
that way.
It's 25 then.
I'll second that.
Did you make that motion,
Yes.
Representative Narcomi? And is that seconded by Representative Fulbright? And what that is to appropriate a fund that can assist the BCR with and our prosecutor on areas of invalid tag ticketing. Now, this ain't for if you were speeding 90 miles an hour in a 45 zone, or if you have an expired tag, or you're driving without insurance, or any of that, that doesn't cover that. This is the measure at hand, okay? So there's a motion and a second. Does everyone understand the motion? Representative Fulbright.
What fund did you say?
LATCF.
Also, you was mentioning of the roadblocks by Okema. There was roadblocks. Was it specifically to look and check their tags and their
Well, they wouldn't
addresses?
say that, but it sure appeared to be that way.
But that's what they were doing?
Well, there was a roadblock for safety purposes, I think is what they stated.
Well, that was probably it then, if that's the words the governor used.
Representative Petit.
Would they accept a friendly amendment to add to that, storage fees, a reasonable storage fee, and tow fee if related exclusively to the tag issue and not any other traffic violation? Storage fee.
That's if their car was impounded for that type of an action.
Well, most likely they will be
And
impounded if it's a
when I say LATCF, it's the Local Assistance Tribal Consistency Fund. We applied for that a year ago, and we received it. That's what some of the budgets and the comprehensive budgets are being paid out of this particular FY24, and there's still some funds there. Are we going to have to up it if we're going to include impounding? Maybe a little bit. What was your suggestion for their friendly amendment? Additional funds, or just to do that, handle it with that?
Well, we can add some additional funds to that amount if we could.
Okay.
If we have it available.
Is that friendly amendment accepted at least to handle any kind of legalities for impounding a vehicle that's related to an invalid tag situation for tribal members?
And that's in that 25,000?
They're probably going to need a little more if indeed that happens. We pray it doesn't, but if it was to happen, it's an added expense.
Well, if we have the funds available to add another $10,000 to cover that.
Okay, the total is $35,000.
Yes.
Okay, and add that particular language. Council Secretary, you got that?
Yeah.
And does the council understand what we're voting on? If that's a friendly amendment, is there a second to that friendly amendment? Do you accept that? There's a second here. Any objections to that friendly amendment? If there's no objections, then we're going to add it to the motion, okay? We won't have to take it to a vote. So it's added. It's accepted by the sponsors of the motion. So therefore, this goes back to the original motion to set aside in an account of 65,000? 60? Well, look there, boy. I was really trying to get it up there. No, I didn't do that on purpose.
We're away.
35,000? Okay, $35,000 in a specific count for that purpose. And it's only for the specific area of invalid tags associated with what we discussed tonight. Okay? Okay, if all the council understands that, a motion second with the amendments, Secretary, call the roll.
Leetta Sampson.
Yes.
Anthony Conley.
Yes.
John Narkemy.
Yes.
Rena Tiger.
Yes.
Anastasia Pittman. Terry Edwards.
Yes.
Ida Gonzalez.
Yes.
Nancy Fixico.
Yes.
Leon Petit.
Yes.
Joseph Billy.
Yes.
Dolores Harjo. Karen Fulbright.
Yes.
Ann Borba.
Yes.
Stephanie Lambert.
Yes.
Sina Yeslith.
Yes.
Lottie Cootie.
Yes.
Marilyn Moore. Ensign Lena.
Yes.
David Frank.
Yes.
Tiffany Thunder.
Yes.
Wayne Shaw.
Yes.
Catherine McCoy.
Yes.
Charlie Hill.
Yes.
Tommy Chupko. Danita Harjo.
Yes.
Willis Dethridge,
Yes.
Desiree Emerton. I have 23 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstain.
With a count of 23 yes, 0 noes, and 0 abstentions, I declare that measure to have passed, and I extend the gratitude and appreciation to the governing body for unanimously doing so. And that's going to be the business of the nation for this evening. And I would say IT, all these things that's been presented today and form, make sure that they're on the tribal websites and the tribal social media site as well. So our tribal members will know what to do just in case they may be stopped, okay? Representative Shaw, then Representative Lena.
Question I have, are we going to issue a statement here tonight that,
Why don't you, if you want to get into that dialogue, give specific points, and then they can start drafting that right now, because many of you saw the statement that I made, but I didn't make it wholeheartedly public, but it was because of the tribal members asking. So it behooves executive office to make a statement, and we did. And we're glad that we did. And if the council wants that to come from this governing body, I'm going to ask Valerie to take some points, and then we'll fashion the statement. And then if you agree to it, you'll make it in a motion that's your statement from the governing body of the Seminole Nation, the General Council. Do you have time, everybody, to work for about, I would say, 15 minutes on this, 15 to 20 minutes? Representative Lena?
First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity. But, tonight we've been hearing what to do and how we can help our members. But personally, I'm tired of Stitt's actions. He don't care about tribal members' feelings. He don't care whose toes he's stepping on. And I feel it's time to start stepping back. The tribes of Oklahoma actually helped this governor out. He brags on how much money he has in his account, but he never says thank you to the tribes of Oklahoma for giving billions of dollars. And, the tribes of Oklahoma, they supply Stitt's people, which is the state of Oklahoma. We supply them with food, medical, tags, school supplies, jobs, and clothing. And how we do that is we don't have a blood quantum. We have open enrollment. Has he ever thanked us for that? No. So we're making him look good so he can tell his people, I'm doing this. But no, we're doing this, and we're doing it to ourselves. And I think it's time that we step up. We either close enrollment, do something, fire at will, something. Let him take care of his people, and we take care of our people. I'm tired of getting pushed around. And until we stand up, we're going to continue to get pushed around. So it's time to step up, Seminole. I'm sick of it.
And there's organized ways to be able to do that effectively without putting things in another light. So the most effective methods, many of those methods, I see people in the gallery that have at times great methods. I once told them I don't necessarily maybe dance the same way you do, but we do dance to the same drum. I have to present myself a certain way because I'm the principal chief of the Seminole Nation. Now, when I made that statement publicly, I have to think of that as well. And that's not a weak statement, but that's a certainty statement. That's a statement of strength, and that's a statement of sovereign. And we'll continue to support those things. And So we want to get busy on this statement from the council. Representative Fulbright. Thank you for those words, Representative Lena.
I agree with Representative Lena. I mean, enough is enough. This guy's been in there and all he's done is put the tribes down. Now he's profiling us as, you know, we're doing wrong, driving our vehicles. I feel like we should vote, we like to vote on vote of no confidence here. I mean, who has confidence in this governor? I certainly don't, I never have. He's cost the state so much money fighting the Indians. He loses, but then he thinks of something else. I just feel like he needs to be removed from office because of his inability to take care of the state without costing them money. I mean, he's just
Well, one way that you
uneducated
can help that, and we've tried so hard in different ways and different manners, is to get the vote out.
Yes.
And Indian country did
Yes.
not.
It's not
Although Indian country showed up for the vote to some extent, it really
Wasn't
it really didn't happen like it could have. But there's ways to do it, okay? There's manners and methods and tactics to go about it in a manner that's effective. We need to find what those manners and effective tactics are, and
well, I believe all the
and
tribes
make
need to
wise
work
decisions.
together.
The,
Yeah.
the prayer that started this meeting asked
Yes.
for direction from the Creator, make wise decisions. Okay?
Well, and with all the tribes working together, and I know that doesn't always happen, but I think it's gotten to the point that they're willing to
I think
now.
you start there with all the
Yeah.
tribes working together. The
Yeah.
organizations that are outside of the Intertribal Council that had a meeting tonight, that's a lot of tribes.
I mean,
So
it's
we
pretty
need,
blatant what he's doing to the tribes.
right. Well, let's start working on this statement, okay? Attorney General, you're going to operate where you are. You seem so distant. I think you might ought to start setting over there, you know, so they feel that you're close by them. Oh, yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. She's going to take your points, okay? And she's not going to tell you what to say, but she will guide us in the formation of the statement, okay? Okay, let's go. Let's start shooting. You know how they do when they're doing brainstorming? Remember those old big sheets of paper we used to have, and there's no bad question, there's no bad statement, and then we start narrowing it down? She's going to write it down. So I saw Representative McCoy's hand and Representative Borba.
Chair, I just need clarification. You have already made a statement?
I'm
like
sorry?
to the media or something?
Did I make a statement?
Yes.
I make a statement from the executive office.
Okay. Is that what you read up there earlier?
No.
Okay. Do you mind reading that? Because I haven't heard it. If that's okay, could you just?
I'll have to find it. No. I never go with exactly what you write there. With all due respect. But I do appreciate Attorney General. She did help some talking points. Let me see if I can look this thing up. My phone is...
Here's your statement.
No. I revised
Oh,
it.
you didn't use that one? Okay, sorry.
I used some of it. Okay, give me a moment. Okay.
Valerie, did you get the two statements that were made already in that?
Yours and Representative Lena's?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, she wants me to read, but you can shoot some things as I'm trying to find this, okay?
Chair, can I give my thoughts while you're looking?
Yes, Representative Moore? You have the floor. I'm looking forward.
Okay, Oklahoma was originally known as Indian Territory, and the majority of Oklahoma is still Indian Territory. And we would like to say, as Seminoles, we were here before Oklahoma became a state, and we are still here.
Continue to speak with Attorney General on your, how you want to fasten it, and I'll continue to look for this. Anyone else? Representative Lambert?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to expand on that and give a little bit of numbers. There are 77 counties in the state of Oklahoma.
Yes.
And of those, 54 are within tribal jurisdictions or tribal reservations. So, I mean, if we look at a number, that's 70% of Oklahoma is within a tribal jurisdiction or tribal reservation. And like she showed us that colorful map, we want to make sure that that we are the majority of Oklahoma.
Anyone else? Just continue on. This is your statement. What do you want to say?
The word Oklahoma within itself says what we are, red man's country, Oklahoma.
Now, you want to fashion your statement to some extent, I think, too, towards our tribal members and their concerns.
Just reiterating what I stated earlier, that we as a nation oppose, object to this nature, and that we, like I said, we could find another word, but we condemn the governor for putting us in this position.
Sir, will you share what
Representative Cootie, go ahead.
I know that he claims to be a part Cherokee, and it's hard for me to understand why he is fighting us tooth and nail, because as an Indian person, he should know where we've been, where we are now. And so I think, as I said before, the past governors have talked to him or told him to start working with the tribe, because we do contribute a lot. We have people working because of the gaming facilities that we have. And I think that there is a lot that we do for the state. I'm sorry if he doesn't manage his monies the way it should be, but I think that if we were vindictive, I think if we took away like class 3 gaming machines, he wouldn't have any monies coming in. But we haven't, we supported it, we supported the state and everything. So I think being part Indian, he come from where our ancestors came from, or his ancestors came from. So I think that he's going to have to just learn how to work with us and just give up trying to beat us at every turn. So everything that he has done has been turned down. So he's very upset about that. And I think that he's going to have to stop and look at himself and realize where we're at and where he is. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Representative Cootie. Representative Borba?
Maybe you could include that we plan to use our sovereignty to the fullest extent. We are here for our people, and the governor should be here for our people also.
Okay, thank you. Representative Shaw.
One of the things that need to be understood, this legislative body here, is that we govern a nation. The governor governs a state, and his state is within a nation, and our nation is within a nation. But they're violating our treaty rights, and that we need to he needs to grow up, bottom line. And we no longer will tolerate his insolence toward Native Americans. And possibly, we need to, if you know the man and have been watching him for the last 2 or 3 years, he has no thoughts of his own. Somebody else is guiding him. Y'all might want to look at Mr. Love or some of these other big petroleum companies. But he does not have the brains that I won't say because it'd be a bad word. He doesn't have the thought process that it takes to go as far as he's come so far. So we do need to emphasize that we need to back our legislators into taking his power away from him, rather than stay where they're at, rather than bow to him. That he'd be the last person I think I would bow to, and that's only because my knee hurts. So, but yeah, right now that's what we need to do. We need to let him know that we got the steering wheel too.
Okay, I'll read this.
He may have one side of it,
For previously.
but we got the other side of it. We can push the buttons too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Representative Shaw. Chairman has the statement, and he'll read that to you now.
And then I see your hand also, Representative Lena. It was asked, what, from the executive office, what was said. Tribal members were at unrest yesterday, and there was a lot being said that had no facts to it. I normally don't try to answer on Facebook certain things, but sometimes in situations like what we're facing, something must be said. Here's the statement. The Seminole Nation Executive Office has become aware of the troubling allegations that Oklahoma law enforcement is stopping vehicles solely based on their display of tribal tags. A memorandum issued by the State of Oklahoma Department of Public Safety on November 9, 2023 regarding tribal tags is concerning, as it shows a disregard for the rights and privilege of the sovereign tribal nations who reside in the state of Oklahoma. If these allegations are true, they would be an infringement on the rights and sovereignty that we have as native nations, and that was promised to us through treaty relationships with the United States of America, as well as our civil rights guaranteed by the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma. As responsible leaders, we believe in fostering goodwill between the nation and the state of Oklahoma. For this reason, and for the safety and security of all Oklahomans, the Seminole Nation currently shares license plate information with the state of Oklahoma and Oklahoma law enforcement. The Seminole Nation seeks to handle conflict via open communication and a greater understanding between all communities. The nation does not wish to accuse before having all the facts. To that end, we are actively working to investigate the validity of these claims and identify lawful solutions that honor the rights of all people. Our preference is to settle differences cooperatively. We ask for patience and trust as we gather more information. The Seminole people have the right to feel respected and protected by law enforcement, regardless of that law enforcement's tribal or state affiliation. We remain committed to a spirit of mutual good faith as we address this matter. There is a special called meeting of the General Council of the Seminole Nation tomorrow, 11/10/23, at the Council House at the Miccosukee Mission, 7 p.m. It is open to all tribal members and citizens. The Executive Office will work with the General Council to resolve these recent developments. If tribal members who have tribal tags are being stopped for no legitimate reason, please contact the Executive Office and report to Chief Johnson text only, 405-683-1370. I will take all reports to the General Council meeting tomorrow evening. After tomorrow's meeting with the governing body, the General Council of the Seminole Nation, we will release an official statement and update to our members. And that's what was stated by the Principal Chief of the Seminole Nation from the Executive Office. And I do say Executive Office because that's not your words at this time. Representative Lena.
Yes, I just want to make a comment, and we need to understand that Representative Cootie here said that Governor Stitt is a Stajat, so he should act that way. But I beg to differ that he is not a Stajat. And the Cherokee Nation once fought to disenroll Governor Stitt's ancestors. Documents show that Oklahoma governor's connection to the tribe may have originated in an act of fraud more than 100 years ago. That's why he acts like he does, you know, and that's another reason we must consider and think, where do we stand? Okay,
Okay, we have kind of tried to appropriate 15 to 20 minutes to try to get several points for a statement. I have Representative Yeslith, Mixsukiban.
Yes, I'd just like to say that we're here because our ancestors fought to survive to get to this land that we were told that was going to be ours, that was eventually stripped from us. We're always here, we're going to be here. We're here, we're going to fight for what's right for what's ours and what's our people's rights. We're here to stay.
Okay, she's writing all that down. Any other comments that pertain to the statement? Representative Petit.
Chair, I agree with the very first part of your statement that you've given to this nation and to the state of Oklahoma. I don't want us to be adversarial towards our citizens of the state of Oklahoma, but we need to let them know that we are a sovereign nation within this state of Oklahoma, and that we have our rights too, and that we want to protect our citizens and members of our nation.
Thank you for those comments. Representative Hill.
Is she ready?
Okay. He said, put your, he said chapter 1.
Okay, chapter 2 coming up.
Yeah.
You cannot be in leadership and be nasty to folks and expect to be respected because of your title.
I heard that before somewhere.
I've never seen one you yet.
Anyone else? Representative Moore.
Is there any way we can challenge this so that we can get the tribe to have some kind of protection?
Much of what was discussed tonight is our measures that we're going to take. We appropriated a certain amount to support those measures that was discussed both by our legal counsel and the BCR Commission. So, yeah, those are measures we're taking underway. So we're definitely going to challenge it. So,
Well,
and that's one of the questions, I think, the news channel, is this the norm? No, it's not. This is not going to be the norm.
She's not finished yet.
Okay, Representative Moore, you still have the floor.
The reason why I was asking is because we might have said everything on the floor, but there's a lot of members out there that don't understand. So just to sum it up, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, we're taking those statements that was brought by the BCR on what to do if you were stopped. We also took measures to, if there was a ticket for invalid tags, that the General Council of the Seminole Nation has our tribal members' backs. We took measures in case they went to the extent of impounding a vehicle for an invalid tag. Now, those things don't cover any other violations, but for the subject matter we've been speaking about throughout this evening. So those are measures that have been taken, and they are in place right now, at this moment. Okay. She can, is your hand up, Representative Narkme, or you?
Different matter.
Different matter, different matter, different meeting?
Same matter, but different page.
Okay. If there's no other comments, what she can do is she can draft this, send it to you, because she doesn't have, probably can't draft it in the proper language right now, or we're going to be here another hour and a half. But when she drafts it, she'll put it on the portal. We'll send it out. The council secretary will put it on the portal, send it out to you by email, text, however you get contacted, and then your information as a general counsel, and then you either say yay, nay, or make comments on it, okay? And then once that we believe that we have the majority, we'll send it out. Is that agreeable? Because I don't think we're going to make a motion, because she's not going to have one ready, not in the next hour. Representative Borba?
Yes, Chair. Do we need to acknowledge the efforts of the Oklahoma Senate and House on their recent support by overturning the vetoes of Kevin Stitt that have been written to hurt the tribal nations? I mean, do we need to show our appreciation for our House and Senate for supporting Native rights?
We have in many ways. If you want to do it officially from the General Counsel, we have from the Executive Office. We also have in different manners and ways, show that appreciation through the Intertribal Council of the 5 tribes as well. Indeed, we've met with both the Senate and the House over this period of time during these transactions. We went to the voting on many of those measures as well to show our support, and thank the Senate and the House for their courage to do the right thing. And obviously, there's a division there. So if there's a division within, he's going to have to continue his antics with tribal nations. Anything else? And we'll probably bring things to a close for this evening. Representative Thunder?
You don't have to use this in closing, but this is mine. As long as the grass grows and the waters flow, our people shall remain, as well as Indian country, aka Oklahoma.
Yeah, there probably should be some language, and that refers to different dialogue of the treaties with the tribes over the course of time. So there probably needs to be something about treaty in here too, and that's what we're standing on: our civil rights, our U.S. civil rights, Oklahoma civil rights, Indian civil rights, and the treaties that we have as tribal nations. So. She's getting all this. Anything else? We'll bring it to a close, and she'll send it out in those venues that we discussed earlier. Representative Cootie. Okay, motion to adjourn. There's a second. Anyone object to adjourning? If not, then we are adjourned. Thank you, gallery, for being here and being concerned, and all the information shared in document form will be placed so that the people can see it.
We're not going to have prayer. You're not going to have prayer.